Hello, welcome to Rolling Escapades Season 2, Episode 20, Part 1, the series in which 9 dudes get together, play Dungeons & Dragons, have fun and put it on the internet. We are once again down to 7 dudes. Due to illness and injury. We have no Swin and Rob, but that's fine. We are hoping they should be back next week, in theory. Crazy men aren't so crazy, and a fiend is surprisingly helpful.
Yeah.
Destai is our sponsor, maker of chainmail and macrame. Awesome. There will be links in the description to go there. Buy the chainmail things like dice bags, key rings, accessories, and macrame just does a mixture of paracord accessories. Click in the description, go search, buy, enjoy. And then go check out the artist of the campaign, Christopher Rolls. You can find links to his Facebook page where you can get commissions done, and you can find links to his DM's Guild products. Last time, you guys, the Errant Guard, continued your investigations into the missing people of Shroudwind, and specifically hunting for the halfling Rios. You got into a fight with some Hydra Rovers before that, killing the 4 dwarves, but leaving the human Dawn alive for questioning. You tidied up after the fight, placing bodies in bags and making Dawn appear to be drunk as you carried him towards the docks. En route, a spell that was on him wore out, and his appearance changed to reveal that he was not a human and was in fact a Cambion, a human fiend hybrid. You took steps to hide his appearance, crushing his wings down and tying them down, doing some other things, and made your way to the Greasy Flute to ask Jack to take the ship out for you, so you could take Dawn on the ship and interrogate him there. Mad Jack didn't take much convincing, very quickly scuttling out and heading to the docks, commenting on your new friend, and got the guards to leave where his ship was moored. Eventually, after some convincing by Mama, you guys boarded the ship and sailed about an hour out of town to interrogate Dawn. There, Mad Jack revealed that he wasn't actually that mad. His real name is Jarlask Arka Sefri Kunov, and he's been working with Peg to find out what's been happening with the disappearing individuals, and to eventually remove the Hydra Rovers from power and replace them with the Kraken's daughters. Following, a little shocked by that, you guys asked him some questions, and then Shamshir cast Zone of Truth on Dawn. When he eventually failed the save, Eldoran woke him up with a point of lay on hands. You began questioning him, finding out that he had a group of 50 Cambions under his command, and he was there to find and kill his father, Deadeyes. The only reason he hasn't done it so far is Deadeyes knows his name and has used that to force him to do as Deadeyes wishes. Dawn also revealed that Deadeyes had taken control of Shroudwind by making a pact with something or someone living within the forest to the north of the town, the Shroud of Necrosis. You made a plan to make your way into the forest and see if you could get your own agreement with the things there and have them void the agreement with Deadeyes. You camped outside the city walls for the remainder of the night and most of the morning, eventually setting off towards the forest about the middle of the day, and started following the tracks left by some of the captured townsfolk as they made their way in. You discovered that the trees of the forest are all dead, and are filled with some kind of rot that has produced its own leaves to cover the forest, and as you walked further in, it got darker and darker until you could there was no longer any light.
How long was the journey through the forest?
It wasn't very long. I think it took you... Hang on, I've got a calendar with times of it. It's about. Actually, I don't think I adjusted the times. So, yeah, I need to add. Walking through the forest took you about an hour to get to the clearing, and then you left at about 1, and you had to go like an hour out, an hour in. So it's like 4 o'clock. Yeah, that's about what it should be. Cool. There we go. Yeah, because you're only a few hours away from sunrise. You also identified that the forest was had a bunch of giant spiders sort of running around. Though they weren't attacking you, that you just knew they were there. You eventually found your way to a clearing where you were greeted by a very, very pale-skinned human woman before a very gothic manor house. She told you that you were expected, and she was inviting you into the house for refreshments, stating the masters are currently sleeping and would be available to speak to you in the next few hours. Until then, you are guests of the house. I ended the session as you guys entered the front door. Some of you very, very reluctantly, but on the basis that you didn't want to be left outside on your own. So, as you guys walking through the front door, you are greeted by a large open room with a central staircase that runs up the center of the room at the far side and splits at the top to create a staircase up to the first floor. Up on the first floor you have a balcony that sort of runs across the all of the inner walls, looking down onto the ground floor. You can see to your left and to your right are 2 sets of double doors, and then at the far end of the room, beneath where the staircase splits, are single doors heading into other portions of the house. At the bottom of the stairs are 2 pedestals, which have got carved stone monsters just sitting on top of them. Claws, teeth that are sort of just snarling at the entrance. Where the staircase splits on the sort of mini landing, there's 3 suits of armor, and then looking across at the balcony up at the top, there are alcoves, sort of every sort of like it's not 5 feet, but pretty regularly, like essentially 7 feet or so. Alcoves with more suits of armor sitting in them. The room is lit by candelabras. No, that's wrong. Candelabra. I had to pronounce it right earlier, and I'd forgotten. Candelabras sitting in the walls around you, and there is a large chandelier hanging over the center of the room. You can also see other doors sort of going off to places up on the upper balcony. You can all smell as you step in. You can smell food, something being cooked, and you can obviously smell the burning candles. It's not a completely silent house. You can hear sort of very vague footsteps and doors opening, closing, and things like that. But it's not that it's muffled. It's just that you're hearing sounds that aren't really that close by. They're on other sides of doors or through walls and things like that.
What was in the clearing? Was there any foliage or anything?
No.
Were there any tracks for carts or anything?
There were not. Well, or not that you remember, because at the time no one looked.
Yeah. I'm wondering where the food is coming from.
They have a supply of food.
I think it's walking in. Does
So they're not all vamps.
Does the faint smell of cookery smell like pork? Question mark.
Make a perception check.
Long pork.
Or is it chicken?
I think it's more like.
Is that everyone or just Shanky?
Anyone who wants to try and identify the smell, make a perception check.
15.
9. 6.
6, 9,
14.
14.
I'm not really sure.
You're not sure. It's hard to place. It's also it's not a very strong smell. It's a very faint smell. It's enough for you to walk in and be like something's cooking, but you
Does it
can't
smell
quite.
good?
Smells pretty good, yeah.
One human madras coming up.
Says the cat. Tiger. Oh,
The woman has sort of turned around to check you're all following, and then has turned and is heading to the set of double doors to your right. I'm assuming you guys continue to follow.
What
Yeah.
did you go left?
Cool.
Has anyone else joined the party, or is it still just us? And
Just
her?
you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. She walks over. She opens the door.
Are there any windows?
There are no windows.
No surprise there.
Before we go in, I'm gonna just look outside and just get a nice fix on it in my memory.
Does the door have a lock
Sure.
that we're going into?
No, there's
Okay.
no lock on that door.
Cool.
There's a lock on the door behind you. The door, as you guys have all filed in, the door does sort of just shut on its own.
Did it lock?
It did not lock.
Okay, that's right.
Cool. So she opens the doors. You find yourself standing in another. It's a hallway. Again, lined with suits of armor. There are above the suits of armor. You can see swords crossed on the wall. Again, no windows, and there are more candelabras on the wall, lighting the thing. There's a set of double doors directly opposite you at the other end of the hallway. It's about 50 foot long. There's also a set of doors about halfway down the corridor to your left. The woman leads you to the middle set of doorways and opens those.
The suits of armour, are they all basically of the same vintage?
More or less, yeah.
Modern style or?
Make a history check on them.
Fucking nothing check and getting that. 24.
24, cool. It's interesting.
They're alive.
No shit.
The armor doesn't match the style of anyone you know on this continent.
Joy.
It's a very, it's a strange style. You've had to do studying of weapons and armor. You recognize this as the style of the smiths of the town Dawnbrook, which is on the continent of Kazlus. What you know of Kazlus is not a massive amount, except it's the really big continent. It's where your family originally came from. It's where
So that's where humans migrated from.
to an extent. Yeah.
Certainly these ones.
It's very far. It is the continent on the other side of the world. So it is very far away.
So would any of our party actually know about vampires and the like? I'm trying to work out whether my character would be suspicious of a mansion with no windows in the complete darkness.
Vampires common mythology.
Okay.
Things
so
like lycanthropy, vampires, dragons.
my
all that.
character is fairly suspicious about this.
Yeah, you can form whatever assumptions you want to form at this point. Yeah.
I mean, it ticks all the boxes at this stage. They're really
they
pale,
might
they
be-
have no light, and they're sleeping during the day.
Or just plot twist as the fellow.
It's just emos,
lycanthropes.
guys.
No.
Just a house
They're
of goths. Yeah, house of
Goths.
goths.
Make sure you got some cider and black, and it'll be fine.
Oh, I saw that post
The
earlier.
new door we're going through, are there locks on it?
There are locks on this door. Yes. As she opens the doors, they swing inwards, and then she steps in and to one side, and turns around back to all of you. I will describe the room momentarily. She says, "Please enter. This is the room you can wait in. My name is Tiana."
Are there any exits to this room?
No, it is just this one door.
Cool. I'm going to stand there and hold the door open.
Cool, that's fine.
Not
She's-
going to let it shut.
Cool. I am the house mistress during the day. I will be looking after you for the next couple of hours. until the masters have awoken. But I would ask you to not leave this room. The masters don't appreciate people wandering the halls, even if they are guests. If you wish, you may take a seat. Food will be brought to you momentarily.
Sorry, this is not the thing. This is just in general. Does the continent have like certain rules for nobility and the like? That if you go into someone's house and as a guest, your safe passage is assured until you've left.
You're asking if someone breaks bread with you,
Yes.
are you protected?
To a degree, yes.
Rules of honour.
It was actually something that was fairly common in the Middle
Oh, yeah,
Ages.
yeah.
So that's why I'm wondering, is it actually a thing? Or?
It would be a common thing amongst noble houses, yeah. If you break, it's not just a common thing. It's sort of a thing amongst people. If you break bread with
Yeah.
someone,
That's what I was checking.
you are a guest in their house. You are offered a certain level of protection.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Cool.
Follow the rules, don't get stabbed.
Yeah.
I was trying not to quite put it.
Potentially is why you're being offered food is the very first thing that comes in to show you are in fact a guest. So the room, you can just look at it, you can tell it's some sort of waiting room. There's a fireplace to the left side. It is lit. It's not overbearingly warm in there, but it is definitely it's a pleasant temperature, especially as it's still pretty cold during the day outside. To either side of the fireplace are two more suits of armor, and then sort of around the fireplace are various seats, sofas, just single seats, and the other side of the room there is a long open table that has seats for 20, so 9 seats on each side and a seat at each end.
Is it set?
It is not currently set. Tiana is just sort of just standing there.
I'll go take a seat
go
at the
in.
table.
Cool. Sit at the table. You're just staying at the door.
I'm going to go and have a look at the armour.
Cool. Similar style.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
Yeah, I just taste of home. As
Yeah.
It were.
Yeah, your masters sure do have a appreciation for armor. It's all over the place.
Yes, it reminds them of home.
That I will sort of slightly raised eyebrow over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Huh. Yes.
Did you not want to have a seat?
No. I'm going to sit by the fireplace.
Cool. Very well. The food will be served on the table, but I can have someone bring you a plate if you'd like.
Is there paintings or anything?
There is not, apart from the armor, which also looking around the room, there are two more suits of armor on either side of the door on the interior.
Of course.
But yeah, it's a relatively plain room.
So is it like hewn rock or?
No, it is. Think. What's the style? Tudor in a sort of. Well, it's it's plain, but it's still obviously expensive.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's quite expensive and well-made wooden beams and stuff, as opposed to being.
It's definitely not cheap shit. Yeah. Cool. Tiana goes, and she also takes a seat by the fire, and it's just. The food should be here in the next couple of minutes. Should you desire anything else, just ask me. I am just going to sit here for the time being and communicate with other members of the household just to make sure the job stay done.
Well, that's an interesting skill.
Which is why I'm the one in charge.
Before you tune out, Tiana, you mentioned masters. Like, what are the names and titles of the people that we'll be speaking with later?
They will introduce themselves to you when they wake up. It is their preference to do the introductions themselves. I can tell you, you will be talking to the Necrosis clan.
Does that mean anything to
does the
anyone?
name? Sorry. You.
Yeah, does that mean anything to anyone?
You're in a forest called the Shroud of Necrosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, as in hearing it before.
Yeah, I
Apart
think.
from that.
Can I do a history check on that? Seeing as there's obviously some sort of link back to the old country.
Sure. Yeah, you can go ahead and make a history check.
No, that's not the number though.
Can I try? Or
That's an 8.
would it be something I might have come across?
You
instead of-
actually, you might have come across the name.
Fucking
Well, that's
hell.
4 as well.
I don't think it's any higher than yours, if at all.
Basically, who would have had a chance in remembering that name? Just those two.
Basically, those two. Yeah.
I was wondering if Derek might have.
No, because of where Derek got his information from.
And then Par is just a dwarf from a different continent.
Par
again.
won't
Could
have
be
a.
different.
You would know. Yeah, no, that's it. Cool. So what were your numbers?
8.
8,
7.
7.
8 and 7. Cool.
Say nada.
We've both got
You should have
4s.
helped each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Not sure.
As they were like, think harder.
Slap.
Did you not pay
Oh,
attention in
I
history
can slap
class?
people.
No.
Really knock sense into them.
yeah.
Or out of
I
them.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, necrosis is the death of cells and whatnot, but aside from that, there's not really much you can. There's not much you recall about that.
Thought I'd take a punt.
Should you have questions, just ask. I will appear distracted, but I am still focused here.
How long will we be waiting?
The masters are still sleeping. They will be sleeping for another few hours, I imagine. They normally rise at sunset.
Good choice of words. Rise.
What if we need the loo?
I was about to ask the exact same question. It's just down the hallway to the left, right?
Oh yes, if you well, not to the left. If you head back to the main stairwell, when you walk back into that room, the door to your right is where you will find a chamber pot.
And that won't be a problem, being as we're not allowed to leave this room.
Oh no, I didn't say you weren't allowed. I just said the masters do not appreciate it. The preference would be for you to stay here for your own safety. But should you require the toilet, then you are welcome to walk that path. That path will offer you no dangers.
I would make sure you listen to her.
I did, word for word, and verbatim. Down the hallway to the left.
To the right.
To the right.
Right.
Right, I got it.
Down the hall and to the left, the exit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I suppose, given that
Yeah, go for a piss in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering what we know is in the woods.
Is this a dog leaf?
Honestly, that's probably not that much of a problem.
Squeeze my hand, but
That's what we don't know
I
is
mean,
in
yeah,
the
just
woods.
get a little bit of the rot off. Use that to dry yourself.
that's not gonna be bad for you.
Not at all.
Can possibly give you any problems.
I'm resistant to poison.
You're
Yeah.
assuming it's a poison.
Acid.
It's a disease.
Your first mistake was assuming poison.
No, it's like similar to the violence that's going to take over you and you're just going to wander off.
Yeah.
Or it's going to turn you into a spider.
After about 5 minutes of waiting, it's not actually that long at all. Tiana stands up and walks to the door, and you see a group of the five more humans, also all very pale skinned. Three male, 2 female. 2 of them are carrying plates and cutlery, and the others are carrying plates of food on large trays and stuff, which they all get down to the table. And then a little bit after that, what they're carrying is there's not much in the way of food, but it's things that don't need to stay warm can be set on the table and whatnot. It's bread and
Fruits.
Cheese.
yeah, bread and cheese basically, and then they disappear out and then come back. The two before that were carrying the crockery are now carrying flagons, 2 flagons each, and behind them the other 3 are carrying what looks to be a very big
secure
pile of meat, and they place that down on the table, and then each Tiana turns to you and goes, do you have preference for wine, ale, or water?
Water, please.
And
I think so. Yes.
What time is it now?
It's
About 4:30.
I think
Wine it is.
I'd like
It's
a
not
nice
past 5
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
I'm sure the doors will probably have. We've got a mix of everything, haven't we?
Do you have any powdered
Ale.
silver?
Yeah.
Cool.
no.
Cool. So
Why?
Derek will have tea.
Obvi.
Which is none of the options.
It's
Yeah.
water.
It's water.
It's fine.
Water.
Yeah,
His
they'll
He's
get
got his own tea anyway, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We
it's
just-
just-
We hear
they'll
like
get some heated
the
water.
clattering as his hand is shaking on the teacup and sauce, drinking the tea. Everything's okay. We're in a safe place.
Cool. So you 4 are water.
Clear
Yes.
head, yes.
Cool. Ale. I think Pa will ale. You will wine. Cool. It's a red wine.
Yep. I thought we
Weirdly
did finest red. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very thick.
No, it's fine.
It is in fact wine.
It's a very nice sweet red wine. It's better than you were expecting, considering the area you are in.
I was expecting the water to be rot water, so
Yeah.
the wine.
The water is clear, fresh water.
Historically, going for the alcohol was always the safer option than the water.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true.
The fermenting process got rid of everything that was going to kill you in the water.
And the ale is of good quality. It's a very
But
hoppy.
yeah, I'm gonna give it a smell. Make sure it's like good, not piss water.
Yeah, no, it smells like a proper hoppy ale. It's
Slash. Don't know if I can spell that, but poisoned.
doesn't smell poisoned.
Yes, it's definitely poisoned. I can tell from the green gas emitting from it. And the awful bubbling.
And that occasional skull that forms the steam.
Why did I hand it? Oh, ignore that.
How very
Tiana has a glass of wine poured for herself and starts drinking the wine.
That one's thicker.
Can I whilst I'm drinking the wine, I'll be like, oh, yeah, it's perfect. Full-bodied. Oh, doing the full wine thingy-majangle there.
Yeah.
So the slight
connoisseur,
Hannibal Lecter
yeah.
on the end.
That's what you do to aerate the wine as you're tasting it. It
Can you
brings out
suggest any
flavour.
cheeses to go alongside it?
Oh, maybe, I don't know, a good camel cheese. But whilst I'm bluffing all this, I'd like to use a first level spell for primeval awareness
Cool.
for a minute.
A minute to
I don't know why you'd ever use it at a higher level, because it just makes it take longer for no extra benefit.
because you haven't got any first level spell holes.
That's just like further shooting yourself in the foot, really, isn't it?
Something would have to go wrong. to
So
bring
basically,
it out
it
first.
gives an extra mile.
You're going to get fuck all.
Does it?
1
mile if you're within 6 mile. No, that's just favoured terrain that boosts it, doesn't it?
Oh, okay.
So basically, for an action, I can expend 1 ranger spell slot, 1 minute per level of spell slot, to sense whether any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead are present within 1 mile of me.
Yeah, a higher level spell
And it
slot makes it
doesn't-
take longer.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you use your action, you get it immediately. It's just for that period of time. So if you expend a higher spell slot, you can detect for longer.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
Okay.
suppose.
But you don't know how far
But
away.
you don't know,
so
yeah,
it's-
there's
it's-
no benefit to detecting for longer because you don't know the location or the number.
Also, when you're in your favourite terrain, it's like everything within 6 miles. That's worse.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't know. There's something.
Yeah.
There's something evil that way.
Cool.
No, you don't know the direction.
There's
You
something evil. Yeah.
just 6 miles in a direction.
Yeah.
So actually makes it
That,
much
do you know what?
worse,
If you
doesn't it?
work that properly, that's somewhere in London.
Not
Yes.
There's a well
Yes.
somewhere in London.
I can sense the lycanthrope.
So
Yeah,
there
you're
are.
talking about.
Everyone looks at
Yeah, I'm going to take a gulp of my beer.
I'm sure I would ping up on it.
It's good.
I get some down my beard.
Yeah, that's a point.
I wouldn't. It
Vitamin B.
wouldn't ping up on it, I don't
beer.
think.
Depends what the thing was.
I don't know.
You can ask Liam, but I don't think it would.
There are undead within a mile.
Only if I changed it.
Crocodile.
Who would have thought?
Actually, if he cast that within town, would it have popped up for here?
Yeah.
It would have gone up for the Cambion.
Oh yeah.
Well,
for
yeah,
him,
Yeah.
you would have got a ping to be like, there's fiend. There's fiend.
Are we within a mile of the town though?
No.
Ghost.
Okay.
Alright.
No. After it takes you an hour to get here.
Oh
no.
yeah, no. You'd
No,
have to go
fuck,
pretty
four
far.
Oh, it's an hour to get here, but that's through like forest and stuff. So. It's
Oh yeah, but.
While we're eating, because I'm having bread and cheese,
Mhm.
I'm going to be talking to Derek in Halfling and asking what he knows about vampires and if he has any books on them that I can read in the next couple of hours.
He has no.
Oh,
books,
yes.
He has no books on vampires.
I mean on like creatures in general that might have a section.
He doesn't have a book on creatures right now.
Is it
Check
our
into my arse library.
Yeah, I was also asking him to tell me what he knows
Nature's
about
pocket.
it.
Just reach real far in.
Let's see what he knows. Hang on.
Is
Oh,
our
found the
colleagues
right one.
joining us at the table?
So, yeah.
Or worse, it's like,
Uh,
oh, wrong
So,
one.
Tiana
back
joined
and
at the
go.
table. Yes, she does.
In alphabetical
Can
order,
I,
just, like,
uh,
shuffling around.
Is she breathing?
Make a perception check.
No, she's had the wine in her mouth.
She had the wife in her mouth.
Yeah.
Well, that might be true. I mean, like, she's one
You
of
can't
them.
judge.
She's just constantly drinking the entire thing. No breathing.
16.
16. Yeah, she is breathing.
Cool. Vampires don't need to breathe.
You don't need.
Yeah, but she was outside, so she's not a vampire.
Why not?
It
Oh,
was,
so
it was
it's
also completely dark.
It was undercover.
It was in a clearing.
Yeah, but it was covered
It
in
was covered in
darkness.
darkness.
I thought that was only whilst within the woods and not the clearing.
No, the clearing itself is also there. The whatever is growing the leaves have grown over the top of the clearing. The actual clearing itself is also dark.
Oh, okay.
Hence my checking she was breathing.
This clearing's a lot smaller, I think, than
It's got a mansion in it.
It's a very big clearing.
It's just got like a lattice work. of
leaves.
That's a big
Jeez,
leaves.
Yeah.
Man, magic shit.
Magic, yo.
So
Scary magic girl.
yeah. So you're asking Derek in Halfling how much he knows about
Vampires.
vampires. Cool. So Derek knows the usual things. They drink
So,
blood. They can turn other people.
he was my first option. My other option is a huntery person. I will be going to ask him next.
Cool. But he does. I mean, there's not much more to say on
Okay.
vampires than that.
It was whether or not there were any details because I wouldn't have run into them
I
before.
mean, if you're speaking to me in halfling, you'll
No,
just
I'm
get
not
like
speaking
nods and be
in
like,
Yes.
yes. I don't know what
However,
he's saying.
As you are talking in
You
Halfling,
can do it.
Tiana
Yeah.
says, "It would be easier to everyone if you just use the same language."
Try to talk to people in their own language if I can, but fair enough.
Well, if you talk in another language in someone else's home, it sort of implies, especially on a subject such as vampires, it sort of implies that you are discussing your hosts. Just, it's politer. You
I
also
must
don't know.
apologise for my companion's
No
faux pas.
offence has been taken. I appreciate using the halfling tongue to talk to another halfling. This is not common to find someone else who understands the language.
I tried to
There's-
learn many languages as I was growing up.
Say that again, louder.
I was trying to learn many languages as I grew up.
But when it comes to your hosts, they will tell you the information you need to know when you meet them.
Tell us about yourself. How long have you had the role?
I have this role. I've had for the past 3 years.
And it's understandably in the middle of a rather dark forest and a bit out of the way. How did you end up here?
Oh, my mother had the role before me.
So it's a family position?
In essence, yes. Should someone better suited come along, then it would pass along to them on retirement. But for the now, the women in my family are gifted, and therefore we have been holding this role for some time.
And the men?
The men sort of drop in and out. The bloodline follows through the women.
So did your family come from the old country as well, or
Oh, yes.
you don't meet that many powerful women coming from the old country so often
No.
these days?
It's a good job to have.
Mm.
We are well looked after. She will put some bread, cheese, and meat on a plate and bring it over to you
Okay.
because you're staying by the door. And she said she would. The people delivering, the other staff have left. They literally just delivered things and left. But she is eating the bread. She's eating the cheese. She is.
What way do they go when they?
They go to the. They came from the left.
Okay,
And,
so not
and
where
go
we
to
came
the
from.
left, not the way you came from. No. But she is eating the food with you.
Mm-hmm. So, do you get your supplies from fucking
Shroudwind?
Shroudwind, or
We get some supplies from Shroudwind.
Yeah.
Just the necessities.
I didn't see
Those are the hard
any contracts on the way up here. So
Oh no. We will send people in to collect. Or sometimes Deadeyes sends people with things that we need. The meat is from the forest. There are giant boar that live in here. That is something that we hunt. Staff require feeding, and meat is an important part of a diet.
Indeed. The forest does provide.
Precisely. Sometimes, if we prefer something with a bit of sting, we'll catch a giant spider. But that is a very acquired taste, and spider venom is still potent when eaten.
I can't say I've ever tried that one myself.
It's not worth trying.
It does sting. There is definitely a burn.
What did I send you?
Hmm?
You mentioned did I send you stuff?
Oh yes. Well, we mostly get the bread and the cheese from traders heading in and out of Shroudwind. We do not have the facilities to grow that ourselves. We get grapes. We normally will get ale. We make the wine here. We do not make the ale here. Well, Deadeye sends food for the masters.
Does he visit much himself?
Oh no, he's been told not to visit.
Do they not like him?
Not particularly. But he is a means to an end.
I'm gonna grab some food then.
Cool.
Oh, I've just been like
I've been eating more
Eating, yeah.
bread,
Yeah,
I've been by the
cheese,
fire.
some bread.
Yeah.
nuts and fruit.
I mean, it's all really good quality food. Surprisingly good quality food, considering you're in the middle of a forest of decay. So
Do you know what? Really bad food would be surprisingly good for in the middle of a forest of decay.
that's fair. Yeah, just something you can eat is a good sign.
You can eat and still not die is probably a good sign.
Yeah. Cool. Do you guys do anything for the next few hours, or are you just going to sit here and just sort of watch, wait?
Play cards. If anyone wants to.
Yeah,
Because
we
I
join
have a
in on
deck.
that.
I'm
'Cause
Just to kill time.
Yeah.
If we know they're going to be like 3 hours or something.
Yeah, make small talk or play
Yeah.
cards.
Cool.
I'm going to reread my book on the various realms.
Okay.
I'll probably eventually sit down with my back against the door,
Cool.
like
Or like on
holding
the
it
inside.
open.
Or just pull a seat over and put it down.
No, that moves me away from the door.
Literally just sit down.
Or you're just going to sit on the floor.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fair.
Yeah, I'll join in with the cards.
Cool. When you're sitting on the floor, Tiana will pull a chair from the table over and put that next to you.
Okay. I put a plate on it.
Cool.
Amazing.
She goes and sits up. Cool. So you guys play cards, kill time for a few hours.
I'll be trapped in the room.
Someone's clever.
Yeah. So about 3 hours will pass. About 3 hours. Yes. Cool. When Tiana puts down her goblet, the masters have awoken. I will go see to them, and you will be. I will come back when they're ready to greet you. Again, please just remain in this room for the time being.
We shall.
What?
And talk in common.
She stands up and walks out of the room and heads out to the right, back to the main staircase. You stay in the room for another 10 minutes or so. When Tiana comes back into the room, and the masters are ready to see you now. If you would please follow me.
Okay. Follow.
Cool.
Bet some name is Vlad, right?
You could get all
We
of the
can't,
tropes
they-
in there.
I hope Liam hasn't.
You put him on the card.
So she leads you out back to the main stairwell, and then takes you up to the first floor. As you go past the suits of armor, there are, like the lower floor had the 2 sets of double doors. There are 2 sets of double doors that you couldn't really see because of the balcony before. She takes you round to the first floor set of double doors at the opposite side to where you come up from. As in, from where you went right when you came in the door, it's at the top left. Leads you through a couple of corridors before stepping outside. A very, very ornate oaken wooden doors that are sort of. They've got these pedestals with the carved monsters outside. There's these suits of armor up and down the hallway. And there's in the wood is carved what looking at it, you can recognize it. It's a tree that is blackened and scarred with weird leaves growing out of it, and you can identify that as the same things that are growing outside. She turns it and goes, "It has been a pleasure. When your meeting is done, I will be resummoned. Till then, I bid you farewell."
Many thanks.
She knocks on the door 3 times, and then walks back off, heading somewhere else. The doors swing open, swinging inside.
With a creak or totally silently?
Huh?
With a creak or totally silently?
Totally silently.
Well-oiled doors. That's a good sign.
Yeah. You are looking into a room that's about 70 foot long, about 45 foot wide. There are a series of pillars down the thing. There are 3 pillars on each side, the outside of the wall, and it's a very high domed ceiling. On each pillar there is a Candelabra.
Candelabra.
How do we spell that?
Candelabra.
PH. B.
Yes. On each pillar is a candelabra, and also next on the walls where the gaps are in the pillars are also candelabras, and there is another very large chandelier hanging in the center of the room. It's a very well lit room. There is a dark purple rug. It's a sort of rug thing that runs, or carpet that runs up. It's about.
It's called a train.
Huh?
It's called a train.
Train. There we go. Yeah. Train that runs up the centre of the room from where the doors are, up to the far end where there is a raised dais. On the dais, you can see what looks like a sort of almost like a throne, but it's nowhere near like that formal. It's just a large seat, really, and then two smaller ones on either side. Not sitting but laying in the large seat is a stunningly beautiful female human, very pale skin, bright red lips, and bright red hair. She is sort of lounging across the seat. She has her feet over by one of the smaller chairs where there is a, again, stunningly beautiful male human who's sort of massaging and caressing her legs and thighs and calves, just upper legs, and where she's leaning back over the thing. There is another stunningly beautiful human female who is pouring a very thick red liquid into the center woman's mouth, who is drinking it. You can see little splashes sort of right across her face. Around the pillars, there are 5 to each side, 10 other, also mostly stunningly beautiful, pale-skinned humanoids, mixture of male and female, who are just sort of watching you guys enter.
So is that 3 on the dais?
3 on the dais.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. And there are 10 just sort of standing in the room. And then there is also in front of the dais, standing almost like directly in front of the 3 seats, 3 more pale-skinned humanoids who are all wearing plate mail and have a longsword and a shield. Longsword is not drawn, the shield is on their arms. And as you guys, are you entering or are you just standing at the
I'm entering.
Let's go in.
Enter.
Cool.
Door have a lock.
This door does not have a lock, no.
Alright.
I think we know where your character's paranoia, just like any door that has a lock.
Like locked rooms.
Yeah, it doesn't like being trapped in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys start walking down. You are, the people to your left and right are sort of just watching you, smiling at you.
Smiling you.
Smiling you, yeah. But you,
Wonder smiling.
yeah, you do notice that all of them have fangs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, everyone in this
Licking their
room,
lips.
apart from you guys, has fangs. As you guys are making your way, the doors again will swing shut behind you. At
Does,
no
does
command.
he have fangs?
No.
Do I?
Comes
You
up
don't
with
know.
thermals or
My
something.
mouth's covered like this with a mask.
Very good point. As you guys walk down, the red-headed vampire, the other ones are black-haired, raises her hand, and the other female stops pouring the liquid into her mouth. She sort of wipes her lips, and
Do I know what this liquid is?
you can,
It's blood.
yeah, I mean, it's blood. Yeah. It's not difficult to
Anyone's
tell.
been in a
Anyone,
fire.
anyone that knows the mythologies of vampires can go, that's blood.
Um,
Does this character know the mythologies of vampires?
But I mean, it's a common mythology.
Yeah,
You can
it's
find
just
most
folklore,
people
isn't it?
in our world and go, do you know what a vampire is, and they will tell you.
Hmm.
It's just common myth. Whether not,
It was more from what you know of his backstory. Would you've actually heard about it?
probably everyone hears the same stories.
Just goes
Yeah,
around.
told
he
stories
still
as kids.
grew up as
and-
kid.
Yeah.
She sits upright. Again, she continues to. So, welcome to my home. My name is Ria.
How close have we gotten when she?
She waits until you're like not quite at the desk, but you're
Like, are we in front of the guard?
Plate armored dudes who just walk straight up in
sort
their face.
of. Yeah, I'm expecting you've not walked up into like
No,
place,
no.
but yes. So you're like 10 feet away from the dudes. Yeah.
Cool.
So they're like, excuse me, dude, I'm trying to walk forwards. Like, you're in the way.
Yeah. Yes, my name is Ria. I am the current leader of the Necrosis clan. These are my consorts. She puts the male, this is Mordecai, and the female, this is Morticia. The three before you are our knights, our bodyguards. They are Magnus, the center one is
What's the
mine.
M's?
Zegrath is Mordecai's, and Thelma is Morticia's. And then
I missed that second one. Sorry.
the
No,
second
no,
one,
their
Zegrath.
names. You're not going to address the peons.
No, but
And
he
then-
might refer to it. I don't know which one's which.
The others you see in the room are members of my clan. Those are our names. We are all vampires. That is what we are. We drink the blood of living creatures. That is what we do to survive. Who are you?
Tom doing the twin compulsion to be sarcastic
I
and to be
know.
polite.
Oh God! Don't get yourself
no,
eaten.
vampires. Oh God! Sorry, what I won't say. At this
I
stage.
would never have guessed.
Donk. Sorry about him.
Lord's
Yeah.
This is in character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My name is Errant Skylark of House Skylark.
Ah, that is a name I know.
Probably had on your family years ago.
Thank you for seeing us so early in the morning for you, Bria.
You have been here for some time, and I wished to have the audience so I knew why you were here. It is not often we get guests.
I'm Shamshir. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance and the rest of the beautiful person group in here.
A charm of being a vampire.
Icarus, thank you for being so forthright about who you are and what you are.
Things are easier when everyone is on the same page.
My name is Aegis Brythera. My pleasure.
Speak a little louder.
Sorry. I'm trying to get an accent and it's not getting loudly, so it's not going well. But yeah, I said my name is Aegis Brythera. A pleasure.
Thorndrake.
Derek and Paul will introduce themselves.
Oh God, we're just like, bleh. I go by Shade.
A pleasure. Do you have a clan name is not the right word, but an equivalent thereof?
We would be known as the Errant Guard.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And what brings you to my home?
Well, once again, thank you for meeting with us. I appreciate your time. Fuck, never completely improvised in my head. I've no idea what we're doing.
Do you remember
People
why we?
walking up.
Yeah, but I've no
Precisely.
idea what we're gonna fucking give them.
What, negotiate?
Oh no, the point is that we.
You're
This
murdering
isn't
innocents.
done in character.
That's fine. This is not. Yeah, this
Don't-
is, you guys. The front of them going. Oh, what the fuck? I'm
Well,
doing?
we totally
So-
talked about this
Here again.
beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You had an hour of walking here to discuss this. so-
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the point is that
Okay.
we need to tell
Let's
them
do
how
that.
we're conflicted about what's happening within the town, and we want to try and propose another offer. It's just we don't know what the offer is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you,
those
cool.
that are going to die from the arena because they did something wrong. It's then any criminals on death row, people who do something too bad, and so on and so forth.
Cool, right, okay.
It's not even criminals, it's just people that are in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's what I'm saying. So we're going to offer them
That's what we
something.
should-
Potentially,
If we get information to control.
we could import prisoners from elsewhere.
It is
Import
our
fodder.
understanding that you have an arrangement with one Dead Eyes.
That would be correct.
Well, he is using your arrangement to control an offspring of his, and this offspring is causing some problems in the city by his father's wishes, not his own.
But yes, it is the Cambion, no?
Indeed.
Yes, they are. Deadeyes is using the Cambion abilities to send us our food.
Indeed.
That was our agreement.
We
or
would
part of.
be interested in coming to a similar, if
Alternative.
fundamentally different agreement that would hopefully still satisfy your requirements, but without having someone such as Deadeyes in power.
So, in what way would it be similar but different?
It would be similar in that you would still receive what it is you require, but those souls wouldn't be so innocent. They would be more damned.
So it's just the source of the food is what
Yes.
would be different. Huh. That seems reasonable. We do have a pact with Deadeyes. He has been given gifts to allow him to take control of the city. So, which one of you is taking the gifts to take control back from him?
Of curiosity, can you explain what exactly the gifts are?
Yes, he has been turned.
Do you want to fuck me up even more?
Yeah,
I
what's
don't
the
know.
vampire
There'll
type
be
is
some
it?
sort of internal conflict going on.
Like vampirism. I agree with vampirism.
Tonight I'd go to be this way.
Till he becomes
And we
a
have to
vampire
accept
like
this
and only
gift too.
turns into a vampire during the full moon.
That would be horrible.
And we have to accept, one of us has to accept this gift too.
No, that is what the agreement was. You just said the only change you wish to make is the source of the food.
In which case we
out-
would
you
make some
change-
additional changes.
Very well. The full agreement we had with Deadeyes is we would turn him. He is not a full vampire. He is what is known as a half vampire.
Dampire?
Blood.
It is Dampire. Not a D.
Muggle.
A vampire patrician. This is a lesser form of vampire. He is turned to be able to control mortals, but he does not have the strength to come and claim my seat from me. He is of a similar power to that of the mayors in my court, which indicates the vampires that are sort of watching behind you.
How's he do in the sun?
He still suffers in the sun. Yes. So he has been turned. He has been given gifts that allow him to dominate other mortals. He has used those gifts to take control of the town by taking out the previous controllers. He has then the bargain was he would use the powers to take control and provide us with a continuous supply of food.
If you don't mind me asking, why are you so willing avoid this deal that you already have with Deadeyes? And how are we to know that such a fair weather friend won't simply do the same to us?
Well, my main focus is the survival of myself and my clan. If you have begun, I assume, investigations of the missing people of the town of Shroudwind, at some point more will follow. You have come to talk. Others will come with stake and sword and come to slay us. It is easier for me to make an agreement with those who wish to talk and then avoid later problems, as it were. I've already lost a food source before when we've had to move. I do not wish to have to move a second time.
And how many souls and on what regularity is it that your agreement is based?
Oh, it's just a supply of. We sometimes we get large shipments. Sometimes we have few. So we always we stockpile. Everything is controlled.
Okay.
We currently have I think 15 or so individuals right now.
And if we make this agreement, you'll let those go.
Oh yes, happily. If that is what you wish to be your side of the bargain, then yes.
While we can discuss the details, we will not be taking control of the town ourselves for a long period of time. It would be one of the others. So we would like to get their confirmation on the deal before completely accepting, if that would be okay.
Oh, so someone is wanting the gifts, or
No,
No.
they would just like to control the town, and they would like what would be their citizens to be
Safe-ish.
unhaunted by the risks.
so you are going to remove Deadeyes yourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and then put someone else in charge of the town,
Mm-hmm.
and then that person will have the final say on who we get. So it sounds to me more like
would
that
want to-
person answers to you as opposed to you answering to them. Surely you are in a position to make a decision as to which unwanted souls are sent this way.
It would. I want to say that when we return to the town, we would try to make it clear that the only way that this can work is if the individuals are provided to you, and we help them to take control.
And they will be reminded that the terms of the deal should not be broken. So, from your side, there should be no worry.
When a new deal is made, what will happen to the power given to Deadeyes?
Oh, his power will remain. That is a permanent transformation.
But now we know
But-
what it is, we are more
Yes.
suited to deal with that.
He has control of the town because of our gifts, and to a lesser extent our protection. We would simply remove the protection. Cannot remove the gifts that is given to him, but if you wish to deal with him yourselves, then
Mm-hmm.
that is up for you to decide.
So what we would offer is,
We would like to strike a new deal. Deadeyes is a bandit, a thug, who is sending unwilling souls that he just selects off the street your way to be your food. You seem to have some modicum of sense and responsibility to those that are surrounding you, your own clan. So maybe extend that modicum of consideration to perhaps your food source as well. After all, it is in your own best interest to make sure that your own supply of blood isn't being mistreated or coming under threat. We can go back to town, make it very clear that whoever we wish to put in charge of this deal has to agree by the terms we are about to set out now. But until then, I think it should also be part of the deal that guardianship and ownership of the town, your livestead, I barely managed to stop myself spitting on the floor, is also under protection other than just yourselves and your forest.
So it would be
It would also be partly your responsibility to make sure that
the town is defended.
Yes, and that the food you're receiving is of the quality that we agree upon now, and selected in the manner that we are going to agree on now too.
I have no issue in helping to defend the town should they need a hire, should they need a rise. As stated, it is in our interest to ensure the town is not destroyed.
It is not only about the defense of the town, but also ensuring that whoever maintains control of it is doing so in the correct manner. The town is to be seen as a place of peace and not as somewhere where an individual rules through fear and is able to tread upon the citizens living within it.
The person being put in power is being chosen by you, no? If they are someone who abuses their power, that responsibility lies with you, not with me.
At this time, it will lie with us, but you will far outlive us, and it is very likely that you will also remain within the area of the town far longer than us. For any successors or any new people that come along.
You're about to suggest a more covert style of selection for your food, in the same way that Deadeyes has managed to raise us, Scatlin, questions in the situation. There will be others in the future that will find missing people a reason to look into it.
So if our deal is maintained throughout however many successors there are to the new town leader, you will not get further investigations since the food source is of this same manner.
So, I see a potentially easier way of doing this. Every time a new leader is placed into power, elected, take control, however you wish for it to be done. That is your motto, that is your problem, not mine. They should come and speak to me, and we shall re-agree the terms of the deal. That way, the person in charge remains aware of whatever is formed. They get the words exactly. There is no loss of lost in history, a watering down of the descriptions, and we do not have to step in and lead the town ourselves. My preference is never to step in and try and influence a town through fear and subjugation. Then can I add to this that you will not offer your gifts to people within the town should it tip the balance in one way or another? It is the added gifts which have caused an imbalance in the current situation. Doing so in the future could cause a further imbalance.
That
and
would
repeat
not
the situation.
limit you from accepting new members to your clan. That is not what we would.
That was going to be my next question. The gifts are sometimes a way to bring people into my clan. So, yes, I will make it we shall make it here a term that I will not bless others with the gifts of vampirism to rule the town. The agreement shall be they will be defended should they be attacked. And then whatever manner of method you choose for choosing our food. What are your thoughts on that? That is what I wish to know. What we are being fed.
The town has a lot of pit fights in it.
Speak up a bit.
The town has a lot of pit fights in it, and a number of them are to the death, where if someone interferes in the fight, the victor, if they've been helped, is to be killed at the end. Rather than them being killed at the end of that, it's possible to have them be sent as an offering.
I would be okay with that, but whether you can convince the town to do that is another matter entirely. The town worships Bane.
Of curiosity, at which point do you prefer your freshness, for lack of a better term, of food?
We would prefer fresh meat. However, should it be required, we can drink from recently slain. But fresh blood would be the preference.
There is also the matter of corporal punishment within the justice systems of this town that could be with the aid of the new ruler, in part diverted to yourselves. That way you would still have a fresh supply, and the fighting pits would maintain their connection to their gods.
The fighting pit, we could have a quota of not so fresh blood sent your way as a booster to the criminals.
Yes.
This would be an option. The only thing that is this method is to prevent further questions. What happens when someone asks what happens to the bodies that are not sent to the sea?
Oh, they are sent to another place of burial.
It could always be arranged that, as opposed to just dumping them in a specific point of the sea near the water, they're put onto a boat and sent further out. What the people wouldn't know is where the boat actually ends up.
Why don't we simply build some kind of cemetery, quote unquote, here in the forest, so that when the cart with all the bodies rolls off into the forest, nobody thinks it's a funny idea?
Does the forest have a connection to the water, or is it on a different
No,
part?
It's not connected to the water. It's away from the coastline.
Have plenty of staff.
around the
Why not simply build a small outhouse in front of this nice mansion for a staff member to pose as cemetery gravekeeper? It's
Would
merely a
these-
front. It's like having a delivery.
Would something of that nature?
That would be appropriate, yes. We would be okay with doing that. Tiana can handle conversations with the Mortimers very well. She is good at her job.
Indeed.
When you drink from someone, do you have
Speak
to
up.
that? When you drink from someone, do you have to drink everything, or can you only drink part of it?
Oh, we drink until we are satiated. We do not have to drain a person of their entire life essence. However, it is difficult to do. Most people are not very lucky, shall we say. It does not take. Our bite is quite ferocious, and it can, whether we mean it to or not, quickly kill people. Not everyone has the stature to withstand.
The Constitution.
Yes.
Okay.
So we do our best to keep our food source alive, but it is as much down to the thing we eat as it is to us. So, agreement then. We shall stop our preying, or we shall stop Deadeyes from preying on any of the individuals that he currently sent us. We will keep them here for the time being, so as to not arouse suspicions whilst you remove him from his position. We will make arrangements for a cemetery to be set up in our clearing, and there you shall deliver the corpses of the fallen for us to use to feed. In return, we shall reaffirm the terms of agreement with any new ruler in the town, and should the town require defense, we shall come to the town's defense. And I will not give the gifts to other individuals unless they are joining my clan.
Fair enough.
Maybe one last thing. Obviously, with your gifts, Deadeyes is rather stronger than we. Do we think we can actually take him on? This is
Oh
our
yeah,
Hell's fucking yeah.
Okay.
a profession.
He is rather
Take your
stronger.
five, guys.
Just to point out, you have been told specifically by Peg and
Yeah, this is why I was
Dawn.
actually asking everyone.
Yeah,
He's very strong. Don't
Yeah.
fight him.
yeah. Peg and Dawn, and I think Jack have all said you don't want to fight this guy. You guys are not strong
I'll
enough.
be fine. Yeah, it's fine. We'll just we're just going to tell all the town he's a vampire. Pitchforks.
Yeah,
Stakes.
pitchfork.
You don't want to start vampire hunting.
Yeah, because they'll also have demons turn up and be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. He is rather stronger than I fear we may be able to deal with. Whilst I'm not necessarily asking for vampiric powers, do you know of any means in which we might have to, in assisting to remove him?
My assistance is not assisting him.
Right.
It is down to you to work out the method by which you remove him. Whether you do that today, tomorrow, in 5 years' time, matters not to me.
Okay.
Pretty much the exact response I was expecting.
And what will you eat while we're doing this?
We have enough blood for now that we can get by for a few weeks, if nothing else, without preying on fresh meat. Should we need it, we can drink the blood of the boar that live within the forest, but that would only work for a period of time. There will come a point at which we will require the blood of humanoids again, and when that comes, if you have not replaced Deadeyes, then I will use as little as possible, but I will use the food that we have been sent.
The construction of the graveyard, how long would you expect that to take?
Oh, I am sure that I could do that in a few minutes.
Super speed, yo.
Did you say minutes?
Yes.
I'm just making sure I heard you correctly.
I
Any
think.
further addendum?
Do we shake on this? Like,
Yes,
Are
so
we signing anything?
in blood.
That's what I was about to say, yeah. Right, get your knives out.
I normally sign my agreements with blood.
Whose blood?
It is normally done with you having with the signee having some of mine and me having some of theirs.
what is it? Is there like paper? Is this a sheet of paper we're?
Oh no!
this is
it's
drinking.
We would drink each other's blood.
Ah.
Let's just use a new system where we sign on a piece of paper in blood,
My
perhaps,
thoughts are, isn't
without the
that how people
transfer
are
into
turned?
gross diseases.
People are turned by being slain.
Ah.
If you're not slain and then buried.
Yeah.
If you're not buried, you are not brought back. You can be killed by a vampire and not be brought back. Paper has no lasting impact.
It lasts longer than people do.
Depends on the paper. It would not last long here.
Why would eating blood have a lasting impact?
Because by drinking your blood, I would then know the taste of whichever blood I chose. That would be a thing that would remain with me. And you drinking my blood would, for a period, have an effect upon you.
What kind of effect?
Well, your teeth would go very sharp.
Does it anyway,
You'll
right?
burn in the sunlight pretty quickly.
Shadows.
Terrible sunburn, you know.
And cover your face and stuff. Fine.
For a period of time, you would have lesser gifts of a vampire, but once the blood has run its course, you would suffer it as if per poison.
Why are you looking at me?
I
I bet he was. But I get that.
Probably not a good idea.
I was also just thinking of this like steroid dwarf just kind of running up to Deadeye going, yo, punching him down, and then someone opens the curtains and you both burst into flames.
Amazing.
Just punch him through the curtains.
And then shortly after, he goes, "Ah, my God, it hurt."
Resisted to poison.
Oh, okay.
That would be quite a scene.
That's probably not a good idea to put the leader in charge to drink their blood. It'd give them a slight boost of power. So
It would
preferably
only
one
be.
of us.
It would be for a day.
Still,
It would last for 1 week, and then you would be poisoned for a week afterwards.
they could do a lot in a week.
A week's
What?
poisoning.
How strong would you said weak gifts of vampirism? How strong would that?
You would get the smell, hearing, and sight of a vampire. You would gain the ability to heal like a vampire, or lesser variation thereof. You would be able to climb up walls and walk across ceilings with ease. You would be affected to a lesser effect by sunlight.
I'm looking at everyone else.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're a paladin. You
I can't
smite
do
yourself.
it. I can't do it.
And what does the poison do?
You would lose all of those abilities.
No shit.
You would be poisoned for a week. You would suffer from being poisoned for a week, and you, because of your race, would lose your ability to see in the dark.
Permanently.
1 week.
Does it have any other effect on certain types of blood? And if you get any gist from me at all, that's what I want to try and look for.
Sure, make an insight check.
Yeah. I'm trying to subtly say something. Can she guess what I am? What was that? Sorry.
Insight check on her.
Insight. What's that? That's 20 in total.
20 in total. You have no idea.
That's
She's very, very difficult to read.
I'm shuffling. Problem is that it might probably be better for one of the hand-to-hand fight. It'd probably be better for one of the hand-to-hand fighters, just because of the regeneration.
But then the horrible poisoning.
yeah.
A horrible poison. Yeah,
I'm assuming
awful
poisoning can be
regardless.
cured by
I suspect
desperation.
Actually,
probably
can it be?
not.
Ask her that.
Do you know if the poison can be cured by? Do you know if the poison can be cured?
Potentially, I do not know. I have never tried. I have no interest in trying. Does not bother me.
I step forwards. I turn around and say, no, does anyone have any qualms about me taking this?
If you want it.
I don't know if anyone wants it, but there's a curious part which makes me wonder.
I wouldn't mind, but it might have an issue with me.
Yes.
Why?
I'll tell you later. Some people know already.
Okay. No,
I have
no
no
issue.
idea if the two that aren't here are.
Yeah, they're probably looking at me too.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, no, they'd be looking at you, but as
Yeah.
far as wanting it themselves.
Derek, would he?
Probably.
No.
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 I don't know. Probably
Neither of
not.
them would be interested.
Who yours?
You are the whore of the party. You're the experiment. Go on, have this blood. Do this.
I have a thing about
Okay.
beautiful women.
He
Hey.
does.
So, Icarus, you are the one to do the signing.
Seems so.
Wonderful. Would you like to drink first or be bitten first?
I think I'll drink
twice shy.
first.
To drink first. Wonderful.
The extra boost so I don't just die on the spot.
So she stands up. She takes a small knife from her belt and walks down towards you past her guards. It would be easier if you were on your knees. And then you tilt your head back.
I do so.
Cool. She puts her wrist above your mouth and just slits her, cuts across her wrist. And blood just starts dripping out into your mouth. Go ahead and make a constitution saving throw for me, please.
Oh, good.
Um,
You're within 10 feet of me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
Oh,
you consider
I-
it tides of chaos.
Yeah.
Oh God! Don't block.
Oh no, hang on, it won't trigger.
would've
It
been
doesn't
no, it
trigger
won't
a
trigger
thing,
it.
but it
Okay.
will do next time I cast a spell.
Okay.
Fuck it.
So
Just
it's
a bit.
but it's whether I do it on drinking the
Sorry,
blood
guys.
or being bitten, because I'm pretty sure being bitten would trigger a roll as well.
We don't know.
That will almost.
In a minute, you'll find out.
Yeah.
One or the other, dude. One or the other.
So I would be getting a +6 plus how
Three.
many? So that would be +9.
This is probably just to accept the blood into your system.
I'm kind of.
Oh, why?
28.
28.
Uh,
Cool.
oh wait, no, it's charisma, so it's
Oh.
+5 +8,
So
so
8.
27.
27, cool. So as the blood hits the back of your throat, you don't gag on it
Good.
because it's you're drinking blood, and that is not a normal thing to do. Your body doesn't just hike it back up.
It would also be in very bad form.
I don't know.
Cool. So you drink the blood. So for the next week,
Remember this. Right, note that down.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this
Oh.
now. I'm just going to say this now for the camera, and then I'll send you the actual list.
Cool, that'd be far easier.
Yeah. You have keen senses, so advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight, hearing, or smell.
Mhm.
Limited regeneration. You regain 2 hit points at the start of your turn if you have at least 1 hit point and you aren't in sunlight. If you've taken radiant damage, this trait doesn't function until the start of your next turn. Spider climb. You can
Guess
climb
what?
difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without needing to make an ability check. And you have sunlight sensitivity. Because whilst in sunlight, you have disadvantage on attack rolls as well as perception checks that rely on sight.
Okay.
Basically what drown happened to her.
Yeah. I mean, the walking on walls and stuff I've already got from my slippers, but
Hey, look at me. You'd have to do a check for it. You
Yeah.
just do it.
I didn't
Oh,
have to do
Oh,
a check.
did you not either? Oh, wow.
Actually, also, you have dark vision of 30 foot.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh yeah, human.
That's actually handy for it.
Yeah.
That's weak. That's it. You're gonna be.
Cool.
Guess what?
You're
like,
gonna-
I
you're
can see
gonna have
colours
really
again,
good-
but oh, I can't see in the dark.
So yeah, so that is what you have for a week.
Just not in the dark.
Okay,
Cool.
part 2.
Part 2. My preference to drink from the neck is easier, but I can go for the wrist if you prefer.
I
On the thigh. There's also a lot of blood there too.
I
Just
tilt
saying.
my head to the side and
Cool.
I guess I'm still kneeling down for...
You can stand up for this if you
Alright,
wish.
stand
Yeah.
then.
Cool. So I assume she doesn't. You're letting her bite you, yes?
Yes.
You're not moving. Cool. So you don't have to roll to hit.
I'm not dodging.
Cool. So probably a good thing she doesn't have to roll to hit because it means she doesn't crit.
Yeah.
Ew, yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to take 10 points of piercing damage.
Which I regenerate too.
Not yet.
No,
Just-
Start of your
yeah,
turn.
that's just from the fangs hitting you.
That's illusion of vitality.
Can't be embarrassing if you passed out now, Andrew.
That's 10.
It might have done.
I'm gonna have my hand like.
Yeah. And you take 12 points of necrotic damage,
Another 12, okay.
and your hit point max is reduced by 12.
Ooh.
Okay, so
After the damage.
Yeah.
max HP is.
Brutal if it was the other way around.
Do I change the max HP modifier or override max HP?
Override.
maximum.
Override it.
Alright, so it was.
Welcome to my world.
you-
Overriding max
So it was 40,
HP.
so it'd be 28.
Yeah, 28.
That's what that one. Yeah, maximum. Yeah, that one. 28. Ooh. That would have been
They
low.
obviously changed that. I remember that having a save attached to it, but it doesn't anymore. The first time we used a vampire is when we did Order of the Dragon Queen, and that had a save attached to it.
Yeah.
This does not have a save.
Oh,
That's not the monster manual.
Hmm?
That's not the monster manual though.
No, that vampire just used the monster manual stat block.
Oh, you're looking at a different book.
Oh, that was for something else.
Okay.
This she uses the standard vampire block. Well, not standard vampire blocks, but
Vampire.
yeah.
He now has 2 people that he could potentially kill. For a week for you.
Stabby, stabby.
We're getting kind of
The
unholy.
monsters now.
You're probably getting a bit on edge about. You don't know about him, do you?
No,
you don't. You will do soon.
Yeah.
Once you've left.
we're not so unholy as almost undead.
Is there a full moon within the next week?
Quite a way away. I think we just had one.
Yeah, it just had
Yeah.
one. There was one like 5
There's
days
one
ago. So
Probably for the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
cool. So she stands up. So that's. You have very tasty blood.
Thanks.
Our agreement is now signed, as you would say. Whenever you have put in your person in power, come back to see me, bring them with me, and we will reaffirm the agreement with them.
Excellent. Well, we shall not take up any further of your precious time.
I did as it is late. If you wish, you are welcome to stay the night within my manor.
No, we still have a journey ahead of us, but thank you for the offer.
Very well. Well, I look forward to seeing you again.
And one more before we part. You have a most exceptional collection of armor.
Oh yes, it is a reminder of home.
It's pleasant to see.
Wonderful. Well, I wish you luck in wherever your journey takes you next, and I look forward to when we meet again.
Back out.
Snooze your blood now.
So you guys turn and start making your way
Good bait.
back out. On the way, the doors
Someone had
swing
to do it.
open, and Tiana is standing there on the other side.
So didn't she only do daytime? But she does nighttime as well then? Or is it till
It's
the end?
it's currently dusk.
Oh, okay.
Everything went as you wished then.
Indeed.
Wonderful. Follow me, I will lead you to the way out, and then you simply head in the same direction back up the forest that you came in on. I would not recommend straying by any other path.
Very
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you for the advice.
So she leads you back down to the main hall, the main entrance, opens the door for you and sort of stands to the side.
Okay.
Thank you for your help.
Good luck on your journey.
Goodbye. And I walk out.
Cool. Yep, you'll
On the
walk
plus
out.
side, you've already healed.
Yes.
Is it a combat
Every
only thing,
6
or is it-
seconds.
You heal 2 hit points at the start of your turn, so you will heal the 10 damage that you've taken from the bite. You will not heal the 12 damage you took from sucking the blood, because that reduced your hit point max.
Yeah, so I'm only at 28 now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel it's probably good for a torch at this hour in this place.
I cast Dancing
Yeah,
Lights.
less than if
You
Oh,
can
that,
see
work,
you
that
anyway,
works
yeah.
too.
I think I also throw up Dancing Lights.
One more person with dance vision now.
Yeah. How'd you feel?
I can see.
Oh, in the dark.
Yes.
Yes, but how do you feel?
Stronger?
You probably feel a little sick because you have just drunk blood.
I've lost a lot of blood too.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever?
Seen in the dark? Yeah.
Yeah, every day.
Have you ever ate something that made you feel sick, but it's kind of stuck with you for a while, and you think, it wasn't so bad, and I don't know why I want to try it again, but I know it's not good for me.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like a kebab shop back in
The mushrooms, man, the mushrooms.
I can't say I
All the
have.
colours.
But in all seriousness, yes.
Water?
You rinse out the inside of your mouth. Yeah.
I don't actually throw up.
No,
No.
you're all good. You passed the con save. You didn't throw up.
If you start growing fangs and
Curiosity, what
drinking
would
close to
happen-
people,
That's what I was saying.
he
do you
will
feel-
have to kill you, you know.
Do you feel like drinking people?
I have no additional urges for this or that.
Are we discussing this while walking through the
Yeah,
forest?
you're
Yeah.
walking through the forest. Yeah.
I'm gonna just turn to Shavage and be like, so we're killing them, right?
Yeah, we're gonna put garlic in all his food. When it's nighttime,
No.
I've got the steak. You bring the hammer.
I point back to the house. We're
Oh.
killing them, right?
Absolutely.
Not even gonna try.
Considering that they knew when we went into the forest, they may have heard that.
Did you hear that?
Yes. Yeah. No, it's just
No response from the forest.
I'm sure they can take a joke.
I do hope
Even
so.
though I'm pretty sure we'd have no hope even if we tried.
We'd be so fucked.
yeah.
Since we can't even face one of the lesser Agunda brood.
I think there's
think we're
like
being
13 of them in
serious.
there.
13, and then there was
And 2 bodyguards. But the vampires.
3 bodyguards, 2 consorts,
I'm just looking
and
around
then
like,
her.
They
What?
might be.
Plus the
They
staff.
We don't know.
I thought they were.
I don't think we asked.
Hmm?
We know that there was 10 which were by the pillars which had fangs, and then there's the bodyguards. Which did you say they had fangs? What do we?
Oh yeah, no, everyone.
Well,
in,
they did.
Everyone in
except
the room
for
had
you
fangs.
guys had
Okay.
fangs. Yeah,
Okay.
everyone in that room. Tiana
16
didn't have
there.
fangs.
Yeah, she wasn't in the room.
Cool. So you guys are making your way out of the forest, and there I think it'll be a good time to call a quick little breather. So we will be right back with part 2. Go check out our social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out the Patreon at patreon.com/FURN Gaming. Go check out the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/FURN Gaming. And then we've got our monthly podcast, the FURN Cast. You can find it on Podbean and iTunes, and also on Saturday, the 24th of August, 2019, from 3 p.m. until 3 p.m. on Sunday, the 25th. We are doing the fundraiser again. Woo, we're raising money for Mind. There will be a link in the description because it's not actually an easy link to remember right now. So you can go click on that and go donate money. We're doing 24 hours of video gaming. It will be fun. Hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you very much and goodbye.